Welcome. If you're a homeowner and you experience some damage to your property and you're kind of, wondering what's the next step, what do I do now? A lot of homeowners, that's a new thing to face, a new problem to face, a new way of handling something that they've never handled before, and so sometimes, it's the unknown, right? So you might want to stick around for the next few minutes because you'll probably learn something that'll help you get that done and get it done the right way, right? So first of all, the one thing that you got to be keenly aware of, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, but you got to be keenly aware of the fact that when you experience damage, if it's sudden and accidental damage, it's something that needs to be reported, right? And I would say it needs to be reported right away, but there is a caveat to that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you just can't call up the insurance company without knowing all the things that you're going to say. You got to have all your ducks in line in order to present the claim the right way. Otherwise, your claim will be denied. As a matter of fact, the statistics have shown us over a fairly long period of time that 6 out of 10 claims are initially denied in the very first phone call. Why? Because you say things that you shouldn't say, or you don't have information that you should have, or you're not explaining the damage correctly. Whatever the case is, the fact of the matter is that the person, if you're not familiar with that process, right? And for you, you're a homeowner, you lived in the house, let's say 4 or 5 years, 10 years, never had a problem. All of a sudden, you got storm damage, you got a broken pipe, you got something that happened. That's a new experience for you. So now you contact the insurance company. This is something that first time you're doing, right? You're contacting them, you're giving them the best information that you have available or that you know how to articulate. And the problem is that the person that's answering the phone, that friendly customer service guy, that person is used to doing this, right? That person already has your policy in front of his screen in his office there. He's looking at your numbers. He's looking at your policy. He's looking at what's available to you or not. He's looking at your past history if you have any. And he's directing questions to you that, again, are being recorded. Everything you say is being recorded. They tell you that before you even speak to a human being. Hey, this call is being recorded for training purposes, right? And you're going out there and you're answering as best as you can first time you're doing this. Meanwhile, your customer service guy does this all day long, and he knows what kind of questions to ask you. And believe it or not, they're trained to ask you questions that can hurt your claim, right? So you want to be very cognizant. So again, it's a double-edged sword, the fact that I have damage and I have to report it. According to my policy, I got to report it. That is true. But you also got to be extremely cognizant of what you're saying, how you're saying it, how you're presenting the information, and all these things are working either with you or against you, right? So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, again, if you're a homeowner and you experience damage, you don't know what you're doing, and you're saying, hey, my insurance company has been great with me. I mean, and you know what? A lot of times people say that, right? For me, I'm a public adjuster. People say that to me all the time. Oh, I'm with Allstate. They've been perfect with me. Really, how many claims have you done? Oh, I haven't done any claims. So they've been perfect at collecting money? Is that it? Okay, all right, I guess they're good at that. What you're going to find is that in that very first conversation, even with that customer, the customer service guy, they're going to be sweet as pie. They're going to be, tender, and they're going to be considerate, and they're going to talk to you, and they're going to say, okay, well, tell me what the problem is, Mr. Johnson. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. And you know what? A lot of them start the conversation, right? The second, and this is how you know that, things are are kind of interesting, right? The way they put it. They start the conversation by saying, "Oh, is this Mike? Oh, Mike. Oh, listen. The first thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for being such a loyal customer. You've been a loyal customer of ours for 11 years. Thank you very much. I want to start by saying that, right? And you say, oh, wow, look at that, man. I mean, I was a little nervous about making this phone call, and now they're thanking me. They're making me feel good, right? So you kind of lower your resistance there, right? And so that opens up for a lot of other things that come after that thank you, right? After that little lowering of your guard, right? Because that's what the purpose of that is. It's just to lower your guard there, so that now questions are asked and you're not even thinking about it. You're just, the way they phrase the question, you're just answering the question, and that they're making notes on it. They're looking at your policy. They're seeing what's available to you, and before you know it, you get a denial letter, right? So very, very important. Now, so do you have to claim your damage? You do. You have to claim your damage, but you have to be very specific on certain things. Number one, what caused the damage, right? That's what we call a peril. And a peril, it could be wind, could be rain, could be water, could be broken pipe, could be accidental discharge of water, it could be hail, it could be fire, it could be lightning, it could be a lot of different things. But you got to know what the peril was. You got to know when that actually happened. You can't be vague about when it happened. Also, when did you get this windstorm? That's a good question. I don't know. And then they're asking you, well, do you remember seeing any loose shingles 6 months ago, a year ago? I think, or maybe around Thanksgiving last year, I remember seeing a shingle or two on my front yard, right? That may just shoot you in the foot, right, saying that. So you got to be very careful what it is that you're saying. So one of the things that you have to have in line is, what was the peril? Is the peril covered under your policy? And when did that happen, right? And the other thing that's important for you to understand, or for you to know, and a lot of times the insurance companies will throw this at you, what's your deductible? Well, I got a $1,000 deductible. I got a $1,500 deductible. Or you might not know it, but you might have a wind deductible now that applies only if you get wind damage. And so now you're claiming you got a windstorm that caused some damage to your roof, but you got a 5% deductible there. And you're saying, oh, well, 5% can't be that bad. It's 5% of the dwelling cost. So if you got a $200,000 house, that's a $10,000 deductible there. 5%, right? 10% would be $20,000. So that's where you gotta understand these things, and that's why, to be honest with you, again, I am a public adjuster, and why am I giving you this piece of information? Number one, so that you can guard yourself and not fall into the trap that's already laid out there. Trust me when I tell you, there are stepping stones that they lay out there that can hurt you. Right? And when you step on them the wrong way and you twist your ankle, that's your fault, not their fault. They're going to say, hey, you should have seen that rock was there. You stepped on it. You twisted your ankle. That's your fault. What I'm telling you is that there are things in place now that if you're a homeowner and you go out there and you make these phone calls and you're not prepared with all the information, you're setting yourself up for a denial, right? And you're setting yourself up so that you don't get the highest possible settlement. And that's what you want, right? You want to be able to have your insurance company, that's why you got insurance, to be able to cover the damage that you got suddenly and accidentally. So that's what a public adjuster does. That's what I do. When I go out there, or when you go out there and you call me up, first of all, I go to look at your damage before the insurance company looks at your damage. Ideally, that would happen. Before the insurance company is there, I am there. and I'm looking at your deductible. I'm looking at when this happened. I'm looking at what the peril was. I'm looking at your policy and seeing how much of that is covered through your peril, right? Because of your peril. And all those things fall into place when you're going and making these phone calls. And when you don't have that, in your mind articulated, and you can't express that the right way, you're setting yourself up to lose. You're setting yourself up to be denied. And that's why 6 out of 10 claims are denied in the initial phone call, because people don't have this information in mind. So what I'm suggesting is that if you do have some damage currently, you pick up the phone and give me a call. And there's no cost for me to go over, look at your policy, look at your damage, and assess the situation and give you advice on whether it makes sense for you to run on your own, or it makes sense for you to have somebody represent you. In some cases, it makes sense for you to run on your own. In some cases, it makes sense for you to have somebody represent you. In most cases, if the dollar amount is there and it's a high dollar amount, it makes sense for you to have somebody represent you. Why do you have a lawyer if you get into a car accident? You have a lawyer because if you don't have a lawyer, the chances are that the other company's going to have a lawyer, and they're going to interpret the law in their favor, not in your favor, right? And that's what happens with a claim. When you have a public adjuster, when you have somebody representing you, they interpret that policy in your favor. So they get you everything that you have available to you. Otherwise, it is stated in your policy that it is your burden of proof. Very important legal statement there. Burden of proof means you have to prove your burden. You have to prove your damages. If you don't, you don't get paid. That's just as simple it is. It's a simple loophole that they use, and they use it extremely effectively. So, my name is Mike Martinez. I encourage you to pick up the phone, give me a call. Let me see if I can be of assistance to you. If you will always have the final say, hey Mike, yes, I want to use you. Or, you know what, Mike, I want to deal with this on my own. Or maybe we'll tell you, maybe you should deal with this on your own, right? Maybe there's not, maybe it's just better for you to do that and get whatever you can. We'll direct you as best as we can. And if you have, certain situations where we see we're going to be of benefit to you, then we'll let you know that that's where the case is, and you decide whether you want to use us or not. The ultimate decision is always yours. But I encourage you, pick up the phone, give me a call. And if you placed a claim over the last 12 months, maybe you placed a claim and you were denied. Maybe you did what I just spoke about, that you didn't have all the information. They came and they sent you a denial letter 2 or 3 weeks after you made your phone call. There's a possibility that we could still open that claim. There's a possibility that you could still collect a settlement on that claim. I don't know. I need to look at it. Every claim is a different situation. But again, if you left out some key information, they're going to deny you. And sometimes it's just a simple thing you left out, and we may be able to correct that. Or if you placed a claim over the last 12 months and you feel like you wasn't excuse me, you feel like you wasn't compensated the right way, or that they didn't treat you fairly, let us take a look at those numbers. Let us look at what your settlement gave you, and we'll see if you left some meat on the bone there. We'll see if you left some money on the table that we can recover for you. If we can, we will. So my name is Mike Martinez. I encourage you, pick up the phone, give me a call. It costs nothing for you to do that. If you decide you want to move forward with us, we work on a contingency basis. That means we work like lawyers, where no upfront money, and we settle the claim for you. We do the work and we put the time in, and we put out the effort, and then we have we take our fee from the settlement papers. So again, that's up to you whether you want to use us or not. Mike Martinez, pick up the phone, give me a call. Let me see if I can work on your behalf. Speak to you soon.